the mood of the conversation a little, and move on to another news story, which I feel like Alex might have know about, which is that Tomb Raider 1 to 3 is being remastered, and
It is.
so yeah, are you planning to play it?
I think I certainly will be. Yes, yes, it's due out on the 14th of February, which is Lara's birthday. For those hardcore Lara Croft geeks among you, if you
How old
remember,
is she?
I don't know. It doesn't actually say what year she was born, but in the Lara Croft official Tomb Raider guide, A4, what was it? No, not A4. It was about this big hardback guide that I got as a child, which listed all the facts about Tomb Raider and Lara Croft. Listed her birthday as Valentine's Day, 14th of February. So that's when that's coming out, which I thought was brilliant. An excellent homage to classic Lara. And yeah, they've basically, I suppose, remastered Tomb Raider 1 through to 3 with the what would now be called DLC. So you've got Tomb Raider Unfinished Business, Tomb Raider 2, The Golden Mask, I think. And I can't really remember the name of the third one. I might have got them mixed up. But all of those are coming out in one package. And it's not like super amazing smashing graphics. It's like it's looking better than it did originally, but still of its time, if that's an interesting way of describing it. I would say it's somewhere between modern and old, if that makes sense. But I'm very much looking forward to playing it. Interestingly though, I think what's interesting is they said about the controls, they're going to keep the original sort of tank controls, tank Lara controls, and then also provide the option of modern gaming controls, which will be interesting to try out, considering the entire game maps and the world of Tomb Raider is based on a grid system, and the old controls where Lara would jump back one space, you can jump back another space, and she can do what we used to call a running jump to jump further, or just a one jump and go, or from the edge and go, and each jump size would be different. So basically, if you got to know the grid system, you could then learn how to platform across different parts of terrain and different puzzles and all that sort of stuff. How that's going to work in modern controls, I'm not sure, but I'll be fascinated to find out, because there's certainly some levels that I know pretty well from replaying them over probably tens of, not hundreds, but probably in the tens of times. Replaying them just because I enjoyed them so much and know where all the secrets are. And it'd be interesting to see if they put in any like Easter eggs or any new additions or anything like that. Would be really cool to see as a celebration, because it's been over 25 years now since the original came out. So yes, in answer to your question, Jim, I will be buying it and I'm very excited. Yes.
I have a question regarding remakes and remasters that I don't think we asked. I don't remember if we talked about this specifically. Every time I see remaster, I think why didn't they just remake it?
Yeah, well,
Because
they kind of did with Tomb Raider Anniversary when that was made. That was going back quite a few years now in itself, which I absolutely loved. And then I just wanted them to do it for Tomb Raider 2, and they never did, because that's my favourite, and they haven't. But yeah, it does make you question it, doesn't it? You know.
Because remakes, that's where it takes the serious work that makes something worthy of paying nearly the full price of a brand new game. For example, when they remade The Last of Us Part 1 and made it look as good as Last of Us Part 2 looked.
Yeah.
And that's the technology. We have the technology to recreate any game. If you want, you could make a Lara Croft game that is absolutely gameplay wise the precise same, but make it look as brand new and modern as anything now. That is as long as you've got access to the source code, which they obviously do.
Yeah.
It's and it blows my mind that it just, why would you make it look, oh, it's a bit less pointy than it was, and go, we could make it look,
I know.
yeah, that just
Yeah.
that blows my mind.
Fascinating.
So my question was, is it worth, would you rather, do remasters matter more
I
than
think
remakes?
remasters are
I
more
think
nostalgic. Like when I think about one of the best ones I've ever played is probably Spyro Trilogy Remastered. That's really good.
And Crash Bandicoot.
And Crash Bandicoot. They're very similar in that they had just been updated for this generation of consoles, but much of their gameplay has just been refreshed, and I don't know whether you'd call that a remake though, because a remake changes the gameplay in a way, doesn't it, I suppose, and a remaster is just a freshening up of the graphics, right? Am I getting confused? Yeah.
And I think of it as like a remaster is where it looks maybe 5% better, whereas a remake, it can be a complete like reimagining. But as with Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, they're just, the gameplay elements are polished a bit. The visuals are completely brand new, but the gameplay itself, the core of it, it's the exact same game.
In terms of pricing, I think it is priced at between £20 and £25, which is completely reasonable, I would say, especially for all three classic games and their DLCs as well. I think that's probably worth it. I mean, in terms of time that you spend playing, it is probably comparatively much shorter games than nowadays, because they're very linear and they're level based, and you could probably speedrun them very quickly if you knew exactly what you were doing. But at the time, they were really long because they were like the pinnacle of what was being achieved at the time. So yeah, it's just fascinating to think about that. I'll probably end up playing through them really quickly and be like, oh, that was short, compared to like The Witcher or something like that. Yeah, I think our expectations have changed a lot since the 90s.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? It's like where your head's at and how much you can enjoy the games. Yeah, I think it all depends really on your memory of the game and yeah, your expectations. But so, sort of on a similar vein, actually, I was also reading about the new Indiana Jones game. Have you seen the footage for this? Because,
I have, yes.
excuse me, it's it looked amazing. Actually, the stuff that I saw just looks like the film. Um, it's it. I mean, I really loved the films when I was younger. So yeah, it's quite fun for me to see it now in this game format. But I was wondering, like they were talking about how the thing is that Tomb Raider and Uncharted both drew heavily on the sort of tropes and the storylines and the concepts that are at play in the Indiana Jones movies. And so they were saying, like now as a game, it's going to be going in and competing with those
probably take a
with
lot of
those
things
games
from
that
those
are
games.
well established.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be really
And I
interesting.
think, so yeah, what do you think about that? How do you think it's going to compete with that?
I think from what I've seen of the trailer, the reaction was quite mixed in that I think it might be trying to do too much, just purely based on the trailer. My own reactions to it, like you say, it does look amazing. The way that Indiana looks in the game looks pretty much like Harrison Ford. They've got a very good sound alike for Harrison Ford as well, in terms of the voice work. And I think in terms of the gameplay, though, this is where they're probably trying to do too much, is that you've got first person for pretty much all the fighting and the puzzles and stuff, but they said they also wanted players to see the Indy silhouette. So there are bits of it that are going to be in third person as well. And it's like when he's climbing things, or like when he enters a room and stuff like that. So I think it might get, I don't know, maybe I'm being too cynical.
Might be a bit confusing.
It might get a bit like they're trying to spread themselves too thin. I don't know. Completely making like assumptions based on one trailer is not a good thing to do. Don't do it. But yeah, it's just a weird choice. You think they'd either go all in for first person or all in for third person. Not both. I'm not saying it won't work, but I have my doubts, I think. But yeah, I mean, games like that are always ones I enjoy very much because of, like you say, the original Tomb Raider and Uncharted were very much taking leaves out of the Indiana Jones book in terms of the content and the story and the types of things you'd find your character doing. So it'd be interesting to see the kind of gameplay that this new Indiana game will be featuring. It is only at the moment coming out on PC and on Xbox, so it is essentially a Microsoft exclusive, if you will. But that's not to say it won't come out on PlayStation at some point in future, because the same has worked for other PlayStation exclusives, like The Last of Us. I think that has come out. Has that come out on PC? I think
Yeah, and Baldur's Gate
yeah.
3 came out later, didn't
That's
it, on
right,
Xbox?
yeah.
So I think
so it probably will eventually make its way over. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what it's going to be like, for sure.
So I don't think you're being cynical enough, Alex.
Okay, I thought you might say that.
Yeah. So my first thing. So I've exposed myself to this as little as possible because it's one of those things where I sort of like, oh, I opened this box, whoa,
Yeah.
And that's close your eyes, Indy, close your eyes. So first thing, the Great Circle.
Not the best name, is it? I know.
Come on. That's the most embarrassing thing I've ever heard as a title for something. So come on. And then so that's Great Circle. Oh, and then look, it's Harrison Ford's face. And then you go, okay. How much more am I going to have to pay for this game because Harrison Ford's face is on it? How much do you think? What percentage of the royalties from all of the game sales are going directly to Harrison Ford because he's letting them use their face on it?
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that it's a massive amount. I guarantee that he's going to get paid untold millions because, look, it's his face. And then I haven't watched the trailer, but if it's just, and it looks like it's from the movies as well, then I can't see it. I can't see it being anything other than just a massive money grab. But who's the audience? Because the people who care about Harrison Ford hasn't. I don't know if he's been in the zeitgeist for ages.
Well,
he's Star Wars.
You say now, Matt.
When did the fifth film come out? It wasn't that long ago, was it? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the fifth film, but I've heard mixed reviews again. Some people like it. Some people think it's absolutely terrible. But then
the new movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about it actually. To be fair.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's interesting because I think, like generally in my experience, games made off the back of movies are usually, like you say, they're just money grabs. They're usually rubbish and they're usually done by, like small people done very quick, small publishers and
you just reminded me of
designers and done very quickly.
One of the worst games of last year. I think it was Skull Island. King Kong, the one that's been roundly panned by everybody because it's so terrible. And some people were saying it started off this trend of like small developers just making crap games and getting them out as quickly as possible so that they could pay streamers to play them and see how terrible they were. I don't know if you guys have heard about that as well, but yeah.
No, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
I'm so
Well,
sad.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sad with these last two. I was thinking it's a good idea for us to talk about the news, but I go, I don't want to talk about the news.
sorry.
News is sad.
This news is going to make you even sadder.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, but we're going to end on a
Yes,
good note.
here we
But
are.
after this,
Okay.
okay, I'm
Let's
really
prepare
sorry,
ourselves.
and
Yeah.
I think basically, like, just brace yourself, Matt. But Hogwarts Legacy was the top selling game of 2023, and it was number one on PS4 and PS5. It was number two on Xbox, and it was five on Switch. However, it is the first time in 14 years, since 2009, that Call of Duty, or one of the Call of Duty games, has not had that top spot. So this year, or 2023, Call of Duty was knocked down to second place after having 14 years at number one, and that was by Hogwarts Legacy. So yeah, I wondered what you guys might think about that. I feel
The
like I've
most
just
upsetting
chucked a bomb in there.
Yeah.
the most upsetting thing was you saying 14 years ago, and I immediately think 2002.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh my
I
god.
don't know if that happened for you too as well.
You mean the
I wish it
millennium?
had, but unfortunately,
Yes.
my daughter just had her 16th birthday, so
Oh,
I know
happy
that.
birthday.
I know only
Ouch.
too well how long ago 14 years was.
Jesus Christ. No, thanks. Nope. Um,
Yeah.
I think I've said everything.
Yeah. I think
I've-
it's a reflection of just how big the market is for Potter, I suppose. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. I think I've shared my thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy in previous episodes as well. I just feel like it's very pretty. It's very well designed, like in terms of the world that they've built. The gameplay loop, not the best. It's quite repetitive after a little while, which is probably why I think I got Scottish Highland fatigue in the same way as I got Viking England fatigue in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like, I'd only just found not King Arthur, what's his name? The king in that time, whose name I've forgotten, who was like in the announcement trailer after several hundred hours worth of play, and then I was just like, well, I still haven't discovered the Isle of Wight fully because it's a top level area, and I guess I'm too tired to carry on now because I've spent hundreds of hours here and I haven't done it yet. So yeah, I think there is an element where gameplay is repetitive, that just you get burnt out from it mentally, and you're just like, I can't play anymore. It's too boring, too tired. Don't make me go kill any more spiders, please. But yeah, so that didn't really answer the question. But
No, it's
yeah.
the
Go on, Matt.
I definitely said this in one of our episodes talking about it, but anyone who's ever read any of the Harry Potter books, especially I think the generation when they were coming out, when there weren't films yet, there weren't games yet, all anyone ever wanted to do was get a letter to go to Hogwarts. They wanted to go to Hogwarts. They wanted to be a witch or wizard and walk around. And then you see the films and immediately go, oh, the films, they created something new. They created an iconic visual
representation
thing that ever since that first came out, that made everyone just want to go, I want to go and be a wizard or witch at Hogwarts. And the developers know that.
Yeah.
They know that people they'll become the most highest selling game ever if they just let you walk around Hogwarts. That's literally all they would need to do. And they're right.
Yeah.
But they should care about the people. But Harry Potter is just one of the biggest industries
It
There
is.
is, and there is just too many executives at the top who just go. "Ah." So yeah, still find it profoundly disappointing.
Was
But
Call of
Mm.
Duty
yeah,
second then in the list, or for this
Yeah,
past year?
second
Yeah,
this year. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Mm.
it's
I've never
never
played
been.
Call of
It's
Duty.
never appealed
I'm
to
not.
me.
It's not my thing
It's
at
never
all.
appealed to me
No.
either. No. Have you ever played it, Matt?
No.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, it's a definitely for. I think it's yeah. There's a reason it's the always number one because it's been like that since Modern Warfare in 2007. That changed the entire shooter genre, and they've been leading the way ever
Yeah.
since. There are lots and lots of serious issues with it,
Mm.
but they've always I've always really enjoyed the campaigns for the most part. But my main problem with the ones the last couple of years is that they do not care about the campaigns anymore because almost everything is online. The vast majority of it is just multiplayer stuff, and so they're not really bothered with it anymore. And I think that's really sad because
Mm.
what games that they could hire 500 people and get them to make a campaign that is like 20 hours long, and it would be nothing to them because of the untold billions they make. But instead they just go, just make the campaign a little bit shorter, and then eventually we'll sell them a game and say, oh, you don't need to buy it yourself now, you can just subscribe to it, and there's no pesky campaign that meant that we had to spend all that extra time and money on it. So you get the subscription one, but oh yeah, but only 5 maps on launch. You can get the 6th one with the digital deluxe edition, and then over our next 5-year roadmap, we'll have maybe 10 new maps. And I just want to go, just shut up, just shut up and make good games. There's plenty of money. There's always going to be plenty of money. There's going to be more and more, and you can have your share. Just make the games good enough, please.
Okay. Well, I really wanted to talk about Pal World because I think that that's just came onto my radar, and I was like, but it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then all I've seen over the next few days after sort of saying that in my house, all I've had is lots of articles about like, oh, if you think that, do you think it's like Pokemon? We asked a lawyer. So yeah, that's not scary at all. But I feel like that's a really
Mm.
long subject, so perhaps we'll have to talk about some of the new games in one of our future episodes.